because it's next month, and it's probably going to be quite an emotional pay-per-view. Final battle, because potentially it could be Ring of Honor's last pay-per-view ever. Also, you're going against someone who you've known for a very long time, who cost you the world title, Kenny King. I want to ask you sort of what are your thoughts going into that match?
My thoughts have changed from when it was announced to as it gets closer. When it was announced, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of relief that I'm finally going to get the opportunity. But as it gets closer, I'm starting to calm down. I'm starting to lock in. I'm starting to understand exactly what this moment means, what this match means. You're talking about a guy in Kenny King who's been a friend, mentor, who has done and achieved things that only a select few people have been able to achieve. You know, you're talking about a former two-time TV champion, one of only 3 black men to hold that championship in the entire history of ROH, not including Jay Lethal and myself. So both of us are very capable of making history. Both of us strive for a lot of the same goals. You know what I mean? And that's what hurts so much when he cost me the world title, is because he knows exactly how important it is, not only to me, but to us, you know what I mean? To have someone else up there to keep Jay Lethal company in that spot in history.
You would have been the second
absolutely
Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah. So he took that, not just from me, he took it from my team, he took it from my family, he took it from our fans. And for a long time, I knew where I was gonna go mentally, right? If this continued, and I tried my very best, because I'm trying to be a leader. I'm trying to be that person, that sort of Ali type figure, to be able to move the culture forward. And I can't move forward if I'm worried about what's behind me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Kenny decided to keep pushing, and here we are. And now I'm going to have to tap back into, you know, that East Side Cleveland Shane Taylor, that person who doesn't care about leading and only wants to destroy the person in front of him. And that's who he's going to get at Final Battle. And it's going to be a shame that I'm going to have to do that to Kenny on that stage. But this is what it requires. I believe that this is worthy of the main event. I
mean, this match itself literally sells the pay-per-view. It's going to be an emotional pay-per-view in general. This match,
it's absolutely. So I don't know. Best of luck to him, because what he's got coming for him at Final Battle is an absolute monster.
I can't wait. And, you know, if I was Kenny, he might have to rethink. He might have to come up with an excuse for that one.
You better do something, bro. You better do something.
And I think, like, diversity is quite important. I mean, I try not to get too, so I would say political. I say just, I think that's one thing I liked. I think it was Shane Taylor's talking about the Ring of Honor. You know, how he desperately wanted to be, you know, I think it was like a 2nd or 3rd black champion as well, and just sort of just wants a bit more diversity, which I think when you all had that moment at Final Battle, and I think it's you know, imprinted everyone's mind now, because the photo, you know, it's so cool. That was
I'm actually glad you brought that up. And if I wasn't having long sleeps, I'll be able to show you the goosebumps. It's kind of building on. It builds every time I talk about this, because that was a moment that we didn't tell production about it. We didn't want it to be a showcase. We
really
an authentic moment. They didn't know that we were going to do that at the end. Actually, they didn't know that we were going to feel the ring at the end. But we wanted that to be, we were in the mindset of, is if this is our last time with all of us in a ring together, we want this picture to show that. And even after that match, when Kenny King and Shane Taylor, you know, they shook hands and they connected in brotherhood.
Yeah,
we wanted that universal message to scream worldwide, no matter what you go through, no matter how many times you fight and our friends are fighting our friends. At the end of the day, we are all our brother's keeper. and we can all do this thing through unification together and
we are
true
always
to ourselves.
Together, despite
we're
our
always
issues.
together, no matter what, in spite of our issues. That's what family does. We fight, and then we're like, "Oh man, we sorry about that, man." Hey, we fight some more. Oh man, that's what we do. But it doesn't make who you are, and just because you are vocal about something, just because that you stand your ground on something and you're true to yourself, it doesn't mean you're a troublemaker. It just means that you're causing good trouble, and good trouble makes change.
The reaction was great. Besides one dickhead, I don't know the guy's username. He got called out rightfully so. I mean, besides that one dickhead, the reaction was great. I think I shared it. It was just like it was one of those moments, and the fact that I didn't know that it had been planned. It wasn't planned. Sorry,
it was not planned at all.
I was going to say, was there any reaction? But I bet they were just like, "Do you know what? It was worth it that we didn't know."
Yeah, there wasn't any backstage discrepancy or
no backlash or anything.
No. I think the only thing that I believe, and I think we were all unified in this, that we did want. For the people that was live, and we're very fortunate many people were able to get pictures of that, so people that are watching from at home, they were able to see what happened.
It was cool.
But the fact that it was kind of cut from the pay-per-view, they had to go to a editing.
It was literally on for like a few seconds.
Yeah, it was there for a few, but then as soon as we hit that main pose, we're like, But the fact that it was captured in picture, it's always said, just a picture speaks 1,000 words, So the fact that that's a part of history, and one person
but the picture is still out there.
The picture's still out there. As a matter of fact, one of the people that was front row, he actually tweeted out. He said, "I wish that I could, if I can get this printed and have everyone sign it. I want to hang this up in my living room for my son to see."
Sick.
And
that'd be cool.
That meant the world to us, man. That's history, right? It's not about the matches. It's about the moments that are created in the sport, and that
his son is always going to see it in the front room, wherever it's hanging.
Absolutely.
Nah, that's sick, man. I mean, if anyone that hasn't seen it, it's on Twitter. Just for Final Battle, it's out there. Just look for it and just ignore that one dickhead guy. He did get called out, and I enjoy that.
Yeah,
it's always good when a racist gets exposed. Great.
It happens every day. It doesn't surprise us. It just motivates us, and it proves our point why we do what we do.
Just like I'd love for you to try that in person, but but we won't give them any more.
Too many keyboard warriors.
Damn right, my man. Fuck him. But
right?
Ron, Rev. So I think I just keep calling you Rev. I don't think how many people call you Rev, by the way. Just out of curiosity.
Pretty much anyone that knows me in wrestling, they don't even call me Ron anymore. A lot of them just call me Rev. I either get Rev or Ron.
Oh, wicked! So I thought I was like, should I just been called him Ron? I was just thinking back in my head.
Everybody calls me just Rev for short. So you awesome. Spot on, brother.
Awesome, my man. Thank you for coming on. Been an absolute blast. We've had also some touching subjects as well to talk about, but in general, Tyra Banks. That's the first.
Yes.
Piracy. That was the first. We won't talk about too much, but it is what it is. But everyone that's listened to this episode, there's going to be more episodes of What You Call It podcast coming up very soon. But for now, everyone, have a good weekend because this has been recorded on Thursday and should be coming out tomorrow, Friday, maybe. Depends what works like. But I'm just rambling on. But for now, everyone, stay safe. Just a quick one, and I shall let you enjoy your day. That's really good, man. Well enjoyed that. I just want to do so basically just so I can plug the episode. So I just say hi. I've got a special announcement for my next guest. Where you just got to say hi. I'm the Rev Ron Hunt. I'm going to be appearing on What Do You Call It podcast. That's it.
Perfect. I got you.
1 second, bro. Just. Hello there. I've got a special announcement for my next guest.
What's going on in the world? It's the Rev Ron Hunt, and I will be the next guest on What You Call It podcast right here. You don't want to miss it.
Yeah, I heard. Awesome. Perfect, my man. I'll try not to be too annoying with the tagging. But the first clip, obviously talk about the AEW, just for STP and yourself. I will try and get that out as quick as I can and then just spread it like wildfire. But the full episode, I think I'm going to have that out probably tomorrow. I think I'm going to listen back. I don't normally listen to a lot of episodes back, but that one I want to. And I'm going to tell Chris that I mentioned him as well because he's one of the reasons.
He'll love the plug, man. I think I've been on his show like two or three times. It's always a blast every time we connect, man.
Definitely, man. I'll let you go, but I will DM you. If you can find the match, by the way, let me know.
I'm telling you, I'm going to hit up a couple people. I'm going to look for that band.
You made your way to Ring of Honor. where you would have a memorable run during one of their hottest periods. You had an undefeated streak. You wrestled against the likes of Roderick Strong, the Briscoes, and the Bullet Club. I just want to ask you, what were some of your favorite moments in Ring of Honor?
I mean, I feel like everything I did in Ring of Honor was a great experience. Ring of Honor taught me so much about what wrestling, especially in the ring, is all about. And I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't go through and experience Ring of Honor. And it's just one of those things that, like, me and my friend were just talking about it the other day, that we wrestled at Ring of Honor when it was the hottest ever. Like, look at all the talent I was wrestling with when I was in Ring of Honor. Guys who've made a name for themselves in WWE, or like who is making a lot of money now. But those were guys who I shared a locker room in Ring of Honor. Despite one of the, if not the hottest roster of that Ring of Honor ever had during that 3 years span I was there.
Yeah, that's was my first exposure to you, and I sort of gravitated towards you. Like, you were so agile for quite, you're what, 6'7", like quite a big guy, but you was able to also sort of fly across the ring, but do power moves and brawl, and just you had a unique style, and I think that's why the fans sort of got behind you. But I want to touch on the Righteous, one of the factions of Ring of Honor, with the members Bateman, Dutch, and led by Vincent. I want to ask, how did you join the faction?
That came about, I didn't even know it was happening till a few hours before. I was there for ring crew, and I was told to bring my gear. I thought I might have a dark match or something like that. And then Vincent came up to me backstage and was like, yeah, so I'm starting this new faction. It's going to be a Devil's Rejects kind of thing. You know, horror, what do you think? Are you into it? And I was like, yeah.
It's a great film, by the way. Great film.
Oh yeah, 100%. One of my favorites. I was like
really
into those. Yeah, and I was a fan of him anyway, because of that, like the horror thing. And so I was like, yeah, I'm in.
Nice. No, I think it's a cool look. Obviously, it came off the what's it, the Kingdom now. But what does it mean to you as a stable? I mean, what does it sort of represent? If you had to explain to someone that's lived under a rock, never heard of the Righteous, and you had to say, okay, this is what we, basically are about. This is why we are the way we are. We look the way we are. I think you've explained some of it, the Devil's Rejects. But...
Yeah. It's an interesting question. I always say, because a lot of people compare us to a cult, and we definitely have those kinds of vibes. We're definitely dark and sinister. But I was initiated into the Righteous, and I always say that Vincent taught me how to be myself in a world that didn't accept misfits necessarily, so and anybody who feels out of place in this world, or who think that you deserve more, and you do, the Righteous has a place for you.
Sold. I'm sold. No, I like Vince. I like his work. I liked his feud with Matt Taven. I thought they really, obviously they were partners as well, but I just really enjoyed the stuff. And I think you guys look good together. No similarities, but you can tell there's chemistry's there. Like, you do kind of get on. Sometimes you just can't fake it.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, they have a long history. They go way back, so.
If you could recruit anyone, I've got a feeling who it might be, just because we just mentioned, maybe the director of the film. But if you recruit one person for the Righteous, dead or alive, doesn't matter who it is, doesn't have to be best related, who would you pick?
It's a tricky question.
You've got to think as well. You've got to think it's going to benefit the group, not just because you're a fan of them personally, but you've got to think for the group as well. Everyone involved.
I've always wanted Max the Impaler, but they already have a trio, so Max is kind of taken, but that would be my first pick.
Oh wait, Max, you're not left out. would you pick Rob Zombie to be in it? I think he would look good.
I feel like he's pretty busy. I feel like he's got too many projects going on.
What are you up to, mate? Like.
But I mean, Bill Moseley, absolutely. We were, Vincent's actually friends with him. We were trying to get him in for a show at one point, but COVID stuff and like travel was like weird and everything. But we were obviously like huge fans of him. So I mean, if we were gonna have an honorary member, it would definitely be Bill Moseley.
And Jimmy got on at Ring of Honor. And he was doing. He had started with Ian, IWA Mid South with Ian Rotten, and that's where he caught Gabe's eye in Ring of Honor. And Jimmy told me, he was like, "Hey, I think I can get you on a couple of these ROH shows. You'll just be a member of Special K, but you'll be on." And I was like, I'm at the very end of the day, no matter what, I'm a pro wrestling fan. Like that's who I. Like, of course I'm watching these shows and I'm seeing, the Punks and the Cabanas and the Joes and the Bryans and the Homicides and the Air, like I'm seeing all these guys. I'm like, yes, please. Like,
that is when Ring of Honor, I mean, I'm not saying Ring of Honor is not hot now, but like around that period of time was probably the hottest independent company in all of wrestling.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, it was just, they were showing such a diverse level of talent that especially that era, like you weren't getting elsewhere because Vince wasn't putting it on his TV, and TNA was so, you'd get like a Low Key and a Daniels, and you're like, yeah, but then you'd get, the Dups or something. It's just like, so yeah, like that, that was the spot. If you're an indie guy, ROH was the spot I wanted to be. So like, I got the call, like, hey, you're gonna be, we're gonna do this deal. We're going to announce that Special K has a new member, and it's this big buildup, and you'll come out. Everybody's going to crap on it. I'm like, ow. They're like, no. Because the payoff is it's really Abyss. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. So, but like even that first night, like I technically wasn't in the match. It was like a 3-on-3 match, and I was just at ringside. But like everybody was very like, hey, make sure you at some point we'll all be down. Can you slide in and do something, maybe a big dive? And I was like, yeah, do you guys mind if like, because, Special K, they were all ravers and all that stuff. I was like, you mind if I do like a dance or something and then dive? And they're like, oh, no, please. So like I slide in and I do the Alex Wright dance. And then, big dive to the floor. And I get to the back. They're like, oh, my God, that was great. What's your Special K name?
I was going to ask, how did it come up?
It just happens. I'm wearing a Carmelo Anthony jersey. And, like me, I'm very high energy and, I love to have a good time. But, like, I'm wearing this Carmelo Anthony jersey and I kind of looked down. I was like, with the drug culture that they're doing, all the, the vibes they're giving off. I was like, man, I think Mellow works because I'm literally the opposite of it. And they're like, Mellow, that's perfect. And so that's how the story of Mellow begins.
Nice, man. I was Tony Mama Luke as a tag team partner, by the way.
So I love Tony to death. I just talked to Tony yesterday. I mean, that's as shoot as shoot gets. He was my least favorite tag team partner I've ever had.
So just when you brought it up, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I often say Tony Mamaluke and Sal Rinauro are like cooking oil and sex oil. They're both great when they're used properly. You don't want to mix those up. You don't want to be in the middle of frying an egg and like, oh no, that's the sex oil. That's no good. Our whole team together was such a weird, just all of it. Just I'll never forget. So at the time, I'm doing the FIP shows down in Florida, which essentially the developmental for Ring of Honor. Gabe would get a bunch of guys down in FIP and kind of weed them out, and then guys he thought were ready would get called up to Ring of Honor. So at the time, Mama Luke was in Georgia, and I was still in Georgia. So we would get in the car together and we would have the best time. You know, like he's a big sports guy. I'm a big sports guy. So, you know, we would tell tales of sports. Plus, Mama Luke is close with Jamie Noble, who is one of my top 5 all-time favorite human beings in the world. And I've got to remind me later, I'll tell you a Jamie Noble story. It's fantastic.
Definitely.
so he's like, because I was friends with Mama Luke, we could crash at Noble's house on the way back and stuff. So we were the best of buddies, you know. Mama Luke and I just got along. And one night we're in the locker room and Gabe goes, "Hey, can you guys stand next to each other?" Yeah, sure. So, you know, Mama Luke and I are kind of standing side by side. And Gabe goes, "Yeah, that'll work." And that's it. And I was like, that was weird. About a week later, he calls me. He goes, "Hey, so you and Mama Luke are going to win the tag titles at the Manhattan Center." What? We're not a team. Oh, I know. Well, why are we a team? Well together. I was like, I don't know, Gabe, but you're the booking genius. I'm not. So let's, you know, like, what am I going to do? Say no? Like,
yes, put the belt on me.
Yeah. On the Joe versus Kobashi show. So like it's just this whole monumental, like I grew up watching ECW at the Manhattan Center, you know, like the first all was at the Manhattan Center.
It is one of the coolest venues in wrestling history. 100%.
Absolutely. And Joe's wrestling Kenta Kobashi in the main event. Like, yes, 100. I don't care what I'm doing. I just want to be a part of this thing, you know? So we get to the show and we're wrestling BJ Whitmer and Jimmy Jacobs. And within probably a solid 2 minutes of putting this match together, I was like, yeah, this isn't going to work. And we're in trouble. Our wrestling philosophies were just so diametrically different. Where, especially in this phase, you know, Mom Luke was like, we got to have Italian pride. We're both Italians. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but we're trying to get them to throw spaghetti at us. Your name's Tony Mama Luke. My name's Sal Rinauro. I think they got like the secret's out. like, look at this nose. Like, what are they gonna do? Oh, I'm a Hispanic man from Paraguay. Like, no, look at me. I'm Italian. It's like, Mama Luke, we don't need to beat him over the head with it. It was like, no, we should come out to the Rocky theme and have the Italian flag. Oh no! So like, and I would pitch other things. So like, my big pitch, it was like, well, what should we call you guys? And I was like, what if we're sports and entertainment? Mama Luke's the sportsman. I'm the entertainment. And he goes, well, that's much like sports entertainment. I was like, yeah, that's the whole point. We're that. And he was just like, I don't think we can sell sports and entertainment. I was like, all right, cool. Call us whatever you want. They ended up calling us Sal Rinauro and Tony Mama Luke. So because to show a lot of the effort that was put into our tag team. It's and we laugh about it to this day still. Yeah. Those matches we had together were like pulling teeth. I mean, it was just such a hard thing to do. But I'm also so I look back on those moments and laugh now. We were. I'm Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion. You know, like if you look at the teams we worked with too, it's just like, wow. You know, like we're with Roderick Strong and Homicide and Ricky Reyes and Milano Collection AT and Colt Cabana. And it's just like, here we are. Like, what am I? How did this happen? How am I this guy in this spot? This is incredible.
Briscoe brothers, and yes. I know that you have wrestled against them in Ring of Honor. I just want to ask, how was your experience being in Ring of Honor and wrestling against the Briscoe brothers?
Well, first let me touch on the Briscoe brothers themselves. I can't say enough good things about the Briscoe brothers, just inside and outside of the ring. On a personal level, two magnificent individuals. I remember, and I don't even think this is an anecdote I've related publicly before. When I first had my tryout for Ring of Honor, when I got accepted and I knew I was going to have to go do this, I couldn't sleep for a week going into the Ring of Honor camp tryout. It was a 2-day camp/tryout where you get in front of them and you do all sorts of things and drills and whatnot.
Yeah. I
didn't know what to expect. And I'd become friends with Jay Briscoe just over the years, you know, working several events with him and talking with him, you know, becoming friendly. And Mark too. Mark is a wonderful, wonderful person. I remember Jade Briscoe spending, I think, a few days before the camp, 45 minutes on the telephone with me, just calming me down and saying, "This is what you'll do. You'll be fine. Just do what you do. They'll like what you do," and just sort of giving me confidence and telling me which direction, what they were looking for, sort of, and just basically soothing my nerves because I was extremely nervous about this opportunity. And I remember him just taking the time and doing that. And just if anyone knows them outside the ring, very intense individuals, but very, very wonderful, humble human beings on a personal level. Work professionally at one of the best tag teams, if not the best on the planet. I think this is a general consensus, though this isn't my opinion. Obviously, we're probably in the top 5 tag teams on the planet. They've accomplished more in Ring of Honor, and I believe they've gone to Japan, if I'm not mistaken. And now they're doing AEW, but and working with them stiff and tight and snug, and just the way I like wrestling. That's the way I feel like wrestling should be, and I would work with them any day of the week. So working with them specifically, I can't say enough good things. They could have a good match with anyone. So the Briscoe brothers, fantastic working with them, and I really enjoyed my time with Ring of Honor. As I said, I had done, I believe this was 2013 or 14. I done the camp and the tryout, and I hadn't heard back from them for a while, but I had accepted the invitation to begin training at their dojo. So dojo, luckily being only half an hour from where I was living at the time, I would go to there a couple times a month and train under Delirious was the head trainer at the time. You also had people like Will Ferrara, Cheeseburger was there, Rhett Titus, a few others I can't off the top of my head remember. We'd have people poke in here and there, but really it was mainly under the tutelage of Delirious, who, if he wasn't present, his style was being pushed as the prevalent style to learn there. So I spent a good duration at the Ring of Honor dojo, and eventually my partner who was loosely a partner of mine at the time, we really hadn't solidified too much, with Red Scorpion. We had worked a couple of different programs in different places, and they had the idea, because he also did a Ring of Honor camp, why don't we pair these two together, which we had been doing anyway, and bring us on television. So, and I loved being in the company, and I made so many good friendships, lasting friendships with many of the people there. And I feel it's sad, because of the hiatus and injury and other circumstances, I sort of became distant from them. Wish I hadn't. It's just life, sometimes uncontrollable circumstance.
But at least your time was memorable. You speak positive on it, and obviously you just praised the Briscoe brothers, who I agree with you are probably in the top 5 tag teams in the world. And Taylor Promotions, it's awesome. Like your theme song just come out. Remember seeing in the UK tour when you was the TV champion. I actually want to talk about that. Actually, your reign as the ROH World TV Champion was one of the most dominant. I think that's the best word to use, and one of the best in recent memory. Defending against likes of Dragon Lee, Bandito, Rhett Titus, and Joe Hendry, which I actually saw live. The heat that you had. Bloody hell. I mean, that's when you know you're doing your job. Like,
right.
I just want to ask, what did it mean to you to be the TV champion?
When I won it, and it's a mixed feeling, right? Especially as the reign went on, because when I first won, I had that initial feeling of like, okay, yes, I've arrived. I made history in ROH. I'm holding a championship. Now's my time. Now's my moment where I should be, off to the moon, right? This is supposed to skyrocket. But that didn't happen, right? Then it became this thing where my matches weren't being announced. I wasn't even being promoted as champion. And so you had a lot of anger and frustration from that, especially knowing the work that I put in.
Yeah.
And the opportunities that other people were given when they held that championship. But then I remembered looking into the back of the arena that night, and there was a group of fans, black fans, probably 15 to 20 of them, maybe a whole big family that showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And when I won, you had so many people with shock or disbelief. But I looked back there and happened to see them up on their chairs, screaming, yelling at the top of their lungs, smiles, tears down people's faces. And it clicked for me right then that no matter how I felt personally, that this title reign was going to be bigger than me, right? This meant something more than just this being my championship. So once I saw that, it sort of clicked in my head on what I had to do, who I had to be, the role that I needed to take. And that's when it really clicked for me. You know what? If the powers that be aren't going to promote me as champion, if they're not going to put me on the platform that they put my counterparts on, then I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
I will make people pay attention. I will make people understand exactly who it is that I am, why I'm here. And then to know and watch, right? Then bring in so many international talents, so many big names for other champions to have these spectacular matches and these pay-per-view draws, to know that I took anybody that was put in front of me and made that match the most seen match of the night, made that match the main event, made that match the one that people were going home talking about. I took a lot of pride in.
Well, you and Bandino, that match is quality. Quality match.
Thank you. Both of them. Yeah, I mean, like the one, he beat me before I was TV champ, I believe. And then he got a rematch after I'd won it, you know. And then I had to make sure he understood, you don't take anything from me. You know what I mean? So now that he's world champion, and I never got my TV title rematch, you know what I mean? Or the rematch for the world title, but you know, it is what it is. Best of luck to him and Jonathan Gresham, and we'll see what happens.
Tony Khan announced All Elite Wrestling has purchased Ring of Honor. I myself, as a fan, didn't expect that. What the hell? Anything's happening right now. But you, someone that was attached to Ring of Honor, I need to know, because I know for a fact your inbox, your tweets, you've exploded basically. So before we do talk about wrestling, did you know beforehand about the news?
Absolutely not. And I think that was one thing that, you know, just seeing how things were dealt with a couple of surprises that we had, a final battle and everything. I think the best move is for things that are very heavily involved, especially when you deal with a big announcement like that, is the less people that know, the better it is that it might be able to stay a secret. And you have to think, especially in this world of technology and social media, dirt sheet, websites and everything, things can get out very easily and surprises can get spoiled. So I do know that they kept that one very, very undercover. A lot of us had an inkling of it, you know, but it was just about hearing it from the horse's mouth itself, to which that's what happened on Wednesday on Dynamite. We actually heard it directly from Tony Khan himself. So am I surprised? Not really, you know, a little bit, you know, not full blown shock. But at the same time, you know, I think right now the real anxiousness is to see what kind of comes up about that. You know, a lot of possibilities out there, so we'll see what happens.
What was your initial reaction when you heard the news?
Well, I think the initial reaction is anyone that's worked with a company such as Ring of Honor, you know, you hold a little piece of ROH very close to you. You know, when you look at the history of that company, where we're looking at nearly 2 decades now, there's a rich history. I think Ring of Honor has changed the sport of professional wrestling as a whole. You know, that goes when you look at WWE, Impact Wrestling, All Elite Wrestling, you know, sprinkle it overseas, even into New Japan. There's a seedling of ROH in every major wrestling company in this universe. And I think that just speaks from the lineage that comes behind that. So anyone that has ever worked and that has ever been an employee of ROH will tell you those very exact things. So to be able to see the possibilities hopefully extend themselves and the opportunities grow now out of Tony Khan becoming an owner of Ring of Honor Wrestling, that does my heart good. You know, you never want to see something that's good that has so much history go completely down the drain. So, you know, whether we're connected, whether we're not connected, at the end of the day, wish them all nothing but the best, because if one company in pro wrestling grows, that's pro wrestling as a whole that's growing. And that's our sport staying alive. And that's what I think we're going to be seeing hopefully within the next few years or so.
No, I hope it does continue, because I think obviously with the hiatus that you were on and many talent and Ring of Honor as a company, I think it was might have been a bit scary. You didn't know necessarily if it would have come back. I mean, obviously we know now it has, Actually next month. Actually, time flies. Actually, bloody hell. But I forget it's March now. But no, it's a good time, not just to be a professional athlete, but for wrestling fans. Like, we just don't know what's going on now. What's going to be the next surprise? I mean, as a wrestling fan as well, Ring of Honor. I've seen when the UK, you've toured in the UK. Fantastic shows, and Shane Taylor scared the hell out of me.
You know, you're not the only one that says that,
man. But we will talk about him in a bit. But I'm glad that you've got a positive outlook on this news. You know, but I mean, obviously, it's opportunities for you as well. I mean, just as an individual talent as well. I mean, is there anyone in AEW that you would like, if it was to happen, AEW? Another coach you had, and actually sort of leads on to your first match in Ring of Honor during the pandemic, by the way. Must have been weird having no fans. Was it Sumi Sakai? Which was the first Ring of Honor Women's Champion. How was she as a coach first, before we talk about your match?
Sumi is another one that I just absolutely adore. She is just such a great person. You know, she's a legend as well. She's been doing this for a long time. She has a shoot background, you know, so she knows a lot of like judo, different stuff that like other coaches wouldn't normally teach.
Oh, she's like proper badass then.
She is a badass. She's such a badass. I mean, like, yeah, the fact that, you know, she's still doing it, and like after this long, and still has the passion for it, and is still so willing to help other people out is amazing. And you know, the pro wrestling world is lucky to have Sumi Sakai. You know, she's a gift, and she's a beautiful person, really. I just have nothing but good things to say about her.
Oh, that's sweet. I feel bad now. We'll talk about the match you had with her, where you may or may have not bitten her. I mean, it was a good match, and the fact that you did it during a pandemic, no fans. I mean, how was that first? How was it no fans being there?
That's always been weird, you know, but for me, because I did so many other kinds of performing, so many other kinds of production, being in a studio like that was not weird to me, because I've done so many different kinds of camera work. Like I did acting gigs and stuff like that. So that part wasn't really weird, other than, you know, the fans like do give you energy, you know, when it's like a good crowd. And so the energy is different. I would say that was the biggest thing. And it was just like, yeah, we just got to get through this. But I think we're past it now. So I think,
thank God. I'm not going to talk about COVID because it's a downer, but I'm so glad it's back and fast. Although may or may not be going into World War III, but that's let's leave that one. It's a massive downer. But we will talk about a positive. You had a really good match with her. The match is available online. It's your first outing. I thought you smashed it. And I want to ask, how was the experience, just the match itself? What did she say to you afterwards? If you're allowed to tell us.
That was a while ago, man. That's a tricky one. Yeah, I don't remember. You know, when you wrestle a match and you get backstage after it's over, like, you get bombarded with so much feedback.
Oh, really?
Especially at Ring of Honor, I got a lot of feedback from Vincent and Delirious and everyone involved back there. So it's hard to keep track. Sometimes you get like so much feedback. Just, like, what did I?
There's only so much. Like, I've only got 20 years of wrestling in my mind. Like, guys.
Yeah. So I don't remember, but I think she was happy with it from what I remember.
She did buy it.
I don't think there was anything like really terrible that I like messed up real bad.
No, I thought it was a good match. Like, I didn't actually know that was your first match until we watched it. I was like, oh, don't. And then I missed the commentator saying it, and I was like, oh, right, fair enough. But no, I mean, the fact that you did it during the pandemic. I mean, you have wrestled before. Ring of Honor.
Yes.
You did the Future. Was it Future of Honor? Cheeseburger. I want to know, how did you end up in Ring of Honor?
Yeah, so honestly, you know, there's no secret to it. You know, I had an opportunity to go down to Pittsburgh. One time they were here in Pittsburgh, just did ring crew. Was able to network a lot. I knew they had a tryout coming up. I want to say that was probably I want to say about 2015, 2016 is when I had a trial. I want to say about 2016. And, that was their whole thing. You went there, it was 2 days, it was hot and it was brutal. Anyone that's listening to this, if you remember what their Bristol location was, where the old facility was, where the old training facility was, I had my first trial right there, and there was no AC, no air circulation. Some people passed out because that's how hot it was. They pushed you. They pushed you, and a lot of people try to prove their say and lock in a contract before they left. But it was one of those things that I showed consistency, and I think that was really what did it. One of the things that one of the executive producers said to us was, for you guys that are wondering how do you get on our radar, this is how you do it right now. Your foot's in the door right now, but it doesn't stop here. We need to see your face. If you can, try to hit up a couple towns for us. Try to make sure that try to make sure that whatever critiques we're giving you when you do these matches in front of us, that we also see you doing that when you go back to the independents, that we see you making a change. And it was one of those things that after that first tryout, and I did one of the shows, Ring Crew, with them, I always stayed in front of their face. I was always sending emails on improvement, on gear or certain matches. And then, when they were in town, I would always connect and say, hey, do you mind if I come through? If I can get a couple guys together, or if I just come through by myself. And I went there and I busted my tail. And there was no secret to that. And so that's what I try to tell people now. I think even the last couple of times, these last few years, that has always been my slogan. Some of my students that I was helping to train when I was in Dayton, Ohio, then also here in Pittsburgh, I said, hey, if you guys are free, jump in the car with me and put in the work. And I had them doing exactly what I did. So there was no excuse to it, but it wasn't until I was starting to pitch them some things, and that match, that was actually my debut match. It was myself, Cheeseburger, and one of my good friends, Derek Neal, Columbus, Ohio. That's where it was, Columbus, Ohio. And for just like you said, for Future of Honor, actually that was our first live streamed Future of Honor was it match. That was ROH's first live streamed match. They didn't tell us until about a couple hours before. They said, also just let you know, we're going to live stream this. We're going to live stream it directly on YouTube and Facebook. And it's going to be just like live TV. Yeah. So not only are you wrestling in front of a sold out crowd, not only did it eventually go from a singles to a triple threat match, not only was it to open up a 3-day pay-per-view for War of the Worlds.
It was your first match.
Yeah, it was my first. And not only was it my first match there, but also they're like, hey, we're also going to do our very first live stream on this, so don't screw it up. Yeah, all of that mixed in.
To be fair, you lads didn't. You put on a fun match. The fans were well into it. I noticed
oh yeah.
I missed that cheeseburger, by the way. I missed that version. Like, that's just.
Cheeseburger is a great guy, man.
I've not heard anything bad about him. I've got Vita VonStarr on in a bit, and I'm looking forward to speaking to her about him. I spoke to him. I can't remember who did I speak to him about, and someone's like, "I love him. I love him." That's gonna annoy me now, and I bet I'll find out after I've got this.
Yeah.
But no, everyone praises him, man. Like, apparently he's a really good coach as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheeseburger is another guy that I feel is underrated. You talk about what he's been able to do in New Japan and overseas in other areas and Canada, Alaska, and he absorbs knowledge like a sponge, but he doesn't want to keep it in. He also wants to give it back.
Yeah,
and I think people underestimate him because of his size and his age and everything like that. But those that have trained under him, those that are students of Cheeseburger and the product of his school now, the Worldwide Dojo, they'll tell you the same thing. Cheeseburger is very knowledgeable, and your career will do nothing but grow from learning under the learning tree of Cheeseburger, because he has learned from some of the best, and some of the best are some of those concrete people at Ring of Honor. And so it trickles down. The fruits always prosper.
With Mandy and Angelina, yes.
Yeah. Sorry, my God, then.
Sorry, yeah, that was a jump. I was like, oh, what are we talking about now? Yeah, that does have a special place for me, because that was actually my only pay-per-view match with Ring of Honor, because of everything with the pandemic. And I was on like a lot of other pay-per-views with them as a valet, but that was the only one I got to do that I was actually wrestling. So that meant a lot to me.
And they got to win. They teamed up with, was it Max the Impaler? Her looks cool, by the way. Her look is so cool. It's like Mad Max and this sort of thing.
Yeah, Max is very unique for sure.
And when you was doing that, it was like Ring of Honor. No offense to Impact Wrestling at the time, but Ring of Honor was probably the number 2 company.
So
if you kind of look how Impact was then and how Ring of Honor was.
Yeah. So at that point, they were about the number 2 domestic company. The way that I look at it, if we want to go from the wrestling side of things, I would say they were the number 1 domestic company. And that's not to give any digs with any company. I just look at it in 2 different forms. You have your companies that focus more on the entertainment side of things, which is everything outside of the ring and inside the ring. And then you have those that are just like, listen, you can have all the glitz and glamour that you want, but if you can't hold your own between those ropes where it really matters. And I feel Ring of Honor was that proving company that if you are the wrestler that you say you are, that is where you will be to prove yourself. And it took me some years to mature in that light, to understand that. And really, that was when I really had my focus in that I want to get to Ring of Honor, and like I said, I have friends in every national TV federation right now, domestically. But my mindset was I want to be right here, because this is where the best of the best are when it comes in between the ropes, respectfully. And that's what it is.
And I think going back to what we talked about at the beginning, when we kickstarted the show with the news, the reaction online has just been berserk, isn't it? Especially for you to receive, like, I think you told me when we were talking earlier, like, it's just been non-stop. And it probably is going to get, because I want to upload it, I'll upload the clip, because I think it's important for people to know how big of news this is. It's awesome. And Ring of Honor, I said earlier, it's one of the shows I went to, and I loved it. Even though I say it again, and actually I'm going to lead into this, Shane Taylor, who scared the shit out of me. I'm going to talk about Shane Taylor, and I'm going to talk about Shane Taylor Promotions, as you are the Vice President and COO.
Yes, sir.
Keep doing that.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So, as you are the VP and COO, if you could explain to someone that's lived under a rock and just discovered pro wrestling, what Shane Taylor Promotions is all about, what you guys represent, and what makes you one of the best factions in all of wrestling.
Absolutely. Well, Shane Taylor Promotions is a company that's for the people, by the people. And I think a lot of people, I'm gonna do a little throwback here. There was a clothing company called FUBU. It was FUBU, for us, by us. Yeah, now I'm talking. But it was for us, by us. And that's exactly what Shane Taylor Promotions is. It was nothing, respectfully, that was not machine made. All of that was a brainchild of Shane Taylor himself. I was one of the very first people that he decided to open up his brain a little bit to, and we began to collectively put our minds together. And then once we unified, that was the original Shane Taylor Promotions. It was Shane Taylor and myself. And then slowly understanding what Shane wanted to do with Shane Taylor Promotions. And honestly, what that was to be able to see those that looked like us, that wasn't around the same light, and because naturally we can have a misperception in the Black community. We wanted to share another light on that, and shed another light on that, to see you don't have to be an NFL player. You don't have to be a drug dealer. You don't have to be a rapper. You don't have to speak a certain way or live a certain way. You can be 100% you and still find your place in this industry while not changing for anybody. But also at the same time, we understand that wasn't quite a popular thing, that there are a bunch of talented people out there, man, woman, boy, and girl, that all they needed was that opportunity. We wanted to be the catalyst for that opportunity to allow those people to show their talent at a grander stage than where they were already at. And once again, that was just Shane now always going back to the drawing board, and Shane saying, hey, this is what I'm looking at right now. Or we see some people making waves, and Shane's like, hey, they need to be seen at this level. All right, cool. So fast forward, there you press along, where he's said SOS, Soldiers of Savagery. You had Khan and you have Moses.
Yeah.
They were the very first two people that were signed under the new ROH developmental deal. And, seeing what they were about and seeing somehow how, sometimes how they were just, they were there, but nothing was given to them for them to be able to show their full worth, both individually and as a tag team. So Shane said, hey, this is where I'm looking at right now. You know what I'm saying? This is what we want to do. Move a couple of pieces around. I talked to a couple of the corporate people at ROH. It wasn't the right time. All right, cool. That doesn't stop us from doing what we're doing on the independent scene still. And we're just going to move this around and we're going to keep pitching it and keep pitching it and keep pitching it. Then eventually that happened. Fast forward a few months later. Then eventually we bring O'Shea Edwards on, the big bad kaiju, O'Shea Edwards. So now you're looking at 5 collective people that now have the same mindset of, listen, we have this mindset to dominate. We are hungry. We have this mindset to show our worth, no matter if the opportunity is given to us or not. And we're not going to take no for an answer. No is not going to mean never. You might think it means never, but it just means a not right now. And when you look at that, once again, giving credit to Shane T for even having the thought and wanting to share that and bring that to light and wanting to have that dream manifested, when you look at the lineage of where we started to where we are now and still understanding that we're not done yet. That's the beauty of willpower in the brain and having faith in what you believe in.
No, man. I think that's one of the times I didn't say anything. I was just, it's powerful, mesmerized.